Listen up.
Welcome back to the Jake Asman Show. Time now for some quick hits.
You gotta move quickly.
There's no time. Move fast there. Come on.
Here we go. It is time for some quick hits right here on the Jake Asman Show. Quick hits this morning on Monday, January 18th is brought to you by Exergen. Everyone's temperatures vary throughout the day, so it is important that you screen for fever in the morning and in the evening. Fever is a sign of COVID-19, so stay safe with the Exergen temporal scanner. It is MLK Day. I'm sure many of you are not working today as it is a federal holiday, but we are working here and we shall entertain you until 11 a.m. Eastern time. Then it is the middle with Eitan Shander, Harry Mays, and, of course, former NFL star Barrett Brooks. Before that, though, well, we have to talk about Drew Brees. Drew Brees likely played his last NFL game yesterday. His career ends with a loss to the Bucs. Afterwards, this was Drew Brees when asked point blank, though, if he has yet to make a decision on his retirement.
Well, I'll answer this question one time, and that is that I'm going to give myself an opportunity to think about the season, think about a lot of things, just like I did last year, and make a decision.
So, look, it's been out there for most of this year that Brees was going to retire after the season. Jay Glazer said it was a done thing yesterday after the game. I mean, if you saw Drew Brees play late this season, it's time for him to go. He is not what he once was. He's had an unbelievable career, first ballot, Hall of Famer, all that. But it's time for Brees to step away. And if you saw the video that emerged last night on social media of Tom Brady going back out onto the field to talk to Drew Brees and his wife and Brees' kids, and then he threw a pass to one of Brees' kids, I mean, that was a sign of a legend paying respect to another legend. It's over for Drew Brees, and he'll go to the Hall of Fame, first ballot, as he should. And what he's meant to that city cannot be overstated. Congrats to him on one of the all-time great careers. You know, I talked in the first hour about how, as great as he is, I think that Saints team underachieved, only winning one. But that's because the bar is set so high when you look at the greatness of Drew Brees. And, Ron, I know you saw Brees at the very beginning of his career with the San Diego Chargers. I have to imagine you never imagined Drew Brees going on to have the career that he did in New Orleans.
Nah, not after he left San Diego, because, I mean, he got replaced because of a shoulder injury that the Chargers were certain he wasn't going to be able to come back from. I mean, just definite that Drew Brees was not going to be able to come back and be the same caliber quarterback he was prior to the shoulder injury, and he came back better. And I have to say this, too, that, there's going to be a lot of talk because he only made it to one Super Bowl. He did win that Super Bowl, was an MVP of the Super Bowl, and we like to have our Hall of Famers on multiple championships. But there was the beginning of his Saints career, that defense was terrible. He had to score 40 points just to give his team a chance to win. And that was, a good 5, 6, 7 years before the defense finally caught up to what Drew Brees was putting out there on the field.
Yeah, the Saints had a stretch where they went 7-9 3 years in a row, despite having the best offense in football.
Yep, and it's just because, if they scored 30 points, they lost the game.
Yep.
I mean, that's unheard of with any other NFL team.
And just think, Ron, over the last 4 years, the defeats the Saints have had in the playoffs. Go back to 2017. Brutal. Minneapolis Miracle against the Vikings.
Yeah. Not Brees' fault.
Not Brees' fault. 2018, the non-defensive passing interference call.
Not Brees' fault either.
2019, they lose in overtime as to the 6-seeded Vikings.
Maybe Brees' fault. We don't know.
He wasn't good in that game. But, and this year they lose to a team they beat twice in the regular season.
I think for Brees, I hate to see him go out this way. I would have much rather it just been a really close game down to the wire. The Bucs just pull it out over Brady. I hate the fact that, it was 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions or something like that.
3 interceptions.
3 interceptions. I mean, one of them wasn't his fault, but there were a couple, just the play wasn't that great.
I keep going back to the fact that as bad as Brees played, how different the game could have been had Jared Cook not fumbled
the ball.
When they were up 7, New Orleans, they were up 20-13. They were driving. If they even got points on that drive, even just a field goal, and they were already in field goal range. If they just go up, let's say 23-13 at that spot in the game, you just wonder if that would have been the difference. And we're talking about an entirely different result if that turnover didn't happen.
Yeah.
I just keep going back to that.
Nah, the thing I keep thinking about, too, is, this is the type of game you don't want to go out as a professional quarterback. But he's got to think back to, what was it, week 7, week 8, 11 broken ribs. I didn't even know you had 11 ribs. But 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung.
He's a warrior, man.
But that right there, for me, is enough to say, you know what, this game has been good to me. It's been good to my family. We're living a life that we never thought we, never could have dreamt of. I can walk away with smiling.
It's time to go. But, Drew Brees leaves behind as, one of the all-time great quarterbacks to ever do it.
And on the flip side, Brady, I think, can play 2 more years.
Tom Brady, he's going to outlast Drew Brees. He's already outlasted Eli Manning. He probably will outlast Big Ben and Phillip Rivers.
Could outlast Aaron Rodgers at this point.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Tom at age 43. Let's hear from Tom Brady. So Tom Brady spent his entire career up until this season in New England. So Tom Brady knows a thing or two about playing in cold weather. So Brady was asked yesterday about going up to frigid Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin to take on the Aaron Rodgers-led Packers in the NFC title game.
You just got to have some mental toughness and wear some warm clothes and be ready to go. So there's, it's chilly, man. That's January football in Northeast, Midwest, and we'll be prepared. The team that plays the best is going to win, not the team that is the coldest or, we're going to have to go out there and play well, and we're going to be challenged, and it's going to be a great game.
I'd love to know what's going on behind Tom Brady there. Is that wind? Is there something on a cart that's being moved? All I could hear when I was listening to that was me trying to put together what was going on either next to Brady at the post-game Zoom session or behind Brady at the post-game Zoom session.
Almost sounds like he's at a NASCAR track.
A very peculiar sound, I should say.
I hate this narrative, though, of, Tampa, a warm weather city going into a cold weather stadium. They can't play. And it's funny because you look at these players, especially someone like Tom Brady, he knows how to play in cold weather.
I think maybe if you're Jared Goff having to go through it, you live in L.A., you're a California kid, it's a little different. But Tom Brady has played his whole career in the Northeast.
You think about the whole team. Like in college, you can say that. Like, if Florida was to go and play, say, Michigan in the wintertime, that makes a lot of sense because most of those kids who are in Florida were probably went to school around the university. Them going up there. And I think it matters if it's a skilled position like Lamar Jackson and still hasn't played in snow. I think it matters in that situation. But when you have an entire team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are made up of players who from all over the place. They're not from Florida. And Tom Brady, certainly. Most famous snow game in playoff history. The Tuck rule.
I'm not worried about Brady in this one. I'll tell you that much.
He knows how to play. Maybe this is where Rob Gronkowski shines because obviously we know he knows how to play in the snow.
That is also very true. So staying with Michigan quarterbacks, we saw the Chad Henne experience yesterday. By the way, I was thinking about this. I was watching the game with friend of the show, Cody Stoops from Sports Illustrated. Chad Henne, is he the most successful Michigan quarterback since Brady? Chad Henne was taken in the second round in the 2008 draft. Has there been a Michigan quarterback that's been taken that high in the draft since? I can't think of one. Unless there's one I'm just missing. Who's the Michigan quarterback that's gone that high? Which is another indictment on Jim Harbaugh, considering he's supposed to be a quarterback guy, and Michigan hasn't had a quarterback in his 6 years there. Just pointing that out. But Brady, of course, was a 6th-round pick. Henne goes in the 2nd round. I don't know if there's been a Michigan quarterback that's been taken that high. I'd have to look that up, but I can't think of one. Anyhow, I mentioned Chad Henne. He came in off the bench, and he saved the day for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was knocked out with a concussion, but Mahomes after the game tweeted, #Anything is possible with the gif of Kevin Garnett celebrating the Celtics championship from over a decade ago, and Kevin Garnett's famous post-game interview where he screamed, "Anything's possible," after they won. So Mahomes tweeted out that gif with the hashtag I just mentioned, and And this was Chad Henne yesterday when asked about Mahomes' tweet.
It's great for him to have confidence. Just like I said before, once I got in that huddle, everybody had confidence in me. They were pushing for me, had my back, and this is a great team. It's a great opportunity to go out there and play with this team and come out with a victory.
Well, yes, they have support in you, Chad Henne, and Chad Henne proved himself. I got to tip my cap. 3rd and 14, the scramble to get them to 4th and inches. To have the guts to execute the pass on 4th down to Tyreek Hill. Chad Henne became a Kansas City sports legend with that performance yesterday.
I didn't even know he was still playing.
Me neither, to be honest.
Even the fact that I
thought Matt Moore was their backup.
Yeah, who played in Week 17?
Chad Henne.
Did he?
Yes.
I mean, I didn't even pay any attention to that game, obviously.
Why would you?
Yeah, I mean, no, they played against the Chargers. I didn't even pay attention to that game.
Well, yeah, I feel like you've kind of been in and out on the Chargers this year at times anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really just watching the offense, watching the maturity of Justin Herbert for me. I was shocked when he came in. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was still in this league. That was impressive. I think it shocked everyone. Andy Reid has a quote out there, too, where he was surprised. They had a 4th and 1 play planned out, and they had it all down to the science, and they said if they get there, they're going to go for it on short yardage on that final drive. They just didn't think it was going to be Chad Henne who got them there.
Anything is possible, Ron Culver.
Anything
is possible. The Chargers, let's talk about your team, Ron. They're hiring Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley as their next head coach. So Staley comes in as a defensive guru. He's been called the defensive version of Sean McVay. Now, McVay, of course, hired Staley, and Staley has a remarkable resume. 4 years ago, he was the defensive coordinator at John Carroll University. Now, I'm sure most of my audience has no idea about anything related to John Carroll University, but John Carroll University is a Division III football powerhouse. He was a defensive coordinator there. 4 years later, this rise has now brought him to be the head coach of an NFL team. Ron, the floor is yours. Do you like the Staley hire by your Chargers?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Not really. But I say that with reservation. I don't know him. When I heard this name come across, it wasn't one that was on my radar.
Did you think it was either going to be Dable or Bieniemy?
Yes.
And your preference was which one?
I was really liking Gable.
Brian Dable. Who went to high school with Tom Telesco, the Chargers GM, so I thought that was like an obvious connection.
Well, this guy went to the same college as Tom Telesco.
Oh.
So there's the connection that you're looking for. It just amazes me that this was your guy. I mean, he's never had any head coaching experience. 4 years ago, he was at Division II, Division III? I don't even know what John Carroll is.
D3. I just said
it a D3?
D3 powerhouse. Yes, sir.
I mean, and then I guess the big selling point is that he took a Rams defense that was 13th last year, and it's number 1 this year. But I have to look at it and go, okay, well, yeah, you should have a number 1 defense when you have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I'm sorry.
But you know what? They weren't the number 1 defense until he coached them up.
Did he?
I believe he did.
Did he? Enough to be a head coach of an NFL team?
Well, clearly teams were interested because the Chargers were not the only team that interviewed him. I had heard from a source that the Texans really liked Brandon Staley.
Well, the Texans should have hired him then, because that would go perfectly with everything that's going on here in Houston. I was really hoping for a quarterback guy. Now, apparently he was a quarterback at John Carroll University or wherever heck he was a quarterback. But I don't know if that translates into, him being a quarterback whisperer. And that's what I was really hoping for, with someone who can really grow Justin Herbert to be one of the best.
38 years old. He's risen through the NFL ranks. He was first hired as a position coach in 2017 with the Bears. He spent 2 seasons in Chicago under Vic Fangio, then followed Fangio to Denver as an outside linebackers coach before joining the Rams staff. So he's got some NFL experience. Obviously, he has no head coaching experience.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. The Lions also have a new head coach. Dan Campbell is going to be that coach. He is the Saints' assistant head coach, and he will be the next head coach of your Detroit Lions. They need to still come to terms on a contract, but Adam Schefter saying that should get done sometime today. Campbell's also the tight ends coach for New Orleans. Campbell, 44 years old. He's never been a coordinator in the NFL. Campbell's replacing Matt Patricia, so the bar is pretty low. We shall see. The Lions obviously need to get this right. They have not had much luck selecting coaches. Campbell was an interim coach with the Dolphins in 2015 after he replaced Joe Philbin. He went 5-7, so not a terrible record as an interim coach. 5-7 over 12 games. So I don't really know much about Dan Campbell. I won't pretend like I do, but he is now the new head coach of the Detroit Lions. Finally, let's get to this. The LA Rams. We just talked about Sean McVay. Well, they don't have their defensive coordinator, and perhaps they might not have their starting quarterback going forward. This was Sean McVay yesterday when he was asked if Jared Goff is his starting quarterback going forward.
Yeah, just like I said, everything's being evaluated. I'm not ready to make any sort of statements with regards to anybody, starting position or not. We're going to have a level of competition at everything that we do. And so that's where we're at. And I think, being able to take a step back, catch our breath, and evaluate everything as we move forward and try to be at our best, that's my answer to the question.
Well, very vague from McVay. And if you're Jared Goff and you hear that, you better be thinking, my job might not be a guarantee, even though I received a big contract. And you know what? I have no issue with that because Jared Goff, to me, is an average quarterback. He gets elevated by the team he plays on, the coach he plays for, and the weapons he has. He's an average quarterback. I think he's capable of having a great game. He's also capable of having some clunkers, and we've seen that too many times from Jared Goff to, just buy that he's this franchise quarterback.
Man, that quarterback class is going down as one of the worst ever.
The best quarterback from that class is Dak.
Yeah.
Think about that, right? Goff goes 1, Wentz goes 2. Dak was a 4th-round pick.
Yep.
Crazy. That wraps it up for Quick Hits here on the Jake Asman Show. Coming up next, let's talk Bills and Ravens, Packers and Rams as we get to the games from Saturday next on the show. Stay tuned. Jake Asman with you. We're coming right back.